YouTube, how's it going? The GoDows is back with score predictions and picks against the spread for every single week one game in the NFL. Football is back. We are pumped. We back every single week with this video. Our week one straight up picks with the other guys of the GoDows, which you know is always entertaining. That's up for this week already, but I cannot wait for our content every single week. Schedule, bottom left of your screen, what Twitter subscribers get bonus content-wise right underneath me. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. And our sponsors on the right, Liquid IV GLD Shop, code GOAT. Rocking the Eagles chain from the GLD Shop right now. They have all NFL team pendants, more jewelry. They're supplying prizes for our Picks League, Super Picks Leagues, and then we're holding a giveaway from them as well. So anything I just listed off, social media, giveaway, sponsors, anything like that, links pinned in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe to notifications on, join us for that in-season content. Score predictions and picks against spread here. So I'm going to go game by game with my score prediction. And then at the end, we'll kind of recap my picks against the spread. So that's how it'll be in this video. So the Lions are +5 going into Kansas City. So underdogs by 5 points. So that's how the graphics work. The away team, what the line is against the home team. But the Lions, yeah, +5. And that can actually kind of continue to drop. It was 6.5. Kelsey news broke. Hyperextended his knee. Some considering him questionable, doubtful. We'll see. It's not great. And Chris Jones is obviously already out. So maybe that line gets a little tighter. This is an interesting one because, like, looking at the circumstances, like the Lions are going to be a sneaky good team this year, you know, but they run the ball extremely well. They will run the ball very well in this game. On top of Chris Jones being out, that's kind of a bonus, a bigger bonus there too. But with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, kind of the hybrid type player, rookie from Alabama, Jahmyr Gibbs, going to be a game plan factor for anybody they play, but especially in week one when there's no tape on it, you know, and then Kelsey possibly being out. Like everything I just explained, you're kind of going back to the running game though. They can have success on the ground and then drain the clock, keep Mahomes off the field. You know, everything I just explained, a lot of things favor the Lions in this game. A lot of things favor them. And, you know, given everything I just explained, it kind of, you almost think the Lions, you know, should they win this game? Maybe they should win this game. But I think given this is the season opener in that environment at Arrowhead, coming, you know, fresh off that Super Bowl, that makes it you know, that puts it on it's a different game that way. So that is a big reason I still think the Chiefs pull it off, and I still think they'll be able to find the end zone a bit. Even though the Lions will control the clock, they'll have success running the football. I think this still just hits the under, which I'd be careful with going at the over because Kelsey's out and the Lions are going to run the shit out of the football. But Lions defense is still, you know, it's getting better, but they're going to have those moments where they give up a lot, you know, through the air or on the ground. And I still think the Chiefs can find success. I mean, they have the best player in football out there still in Patrick Mahomes. They'll find success. I got them winning 27-23, so barely under that spread. So the Lions actually covering the spread there +5, but barely. I always, you know, if you're a betting man or woman, I'd be very careful in week one because weird things happen every single year. But yeah, that's gonna be a close game actually. Lions are, you know, they're growing, they're getting better, and Chiefs are gonna have some guys out. So watching out for that Lions run game and can they control the game with that? But you know, how will Goff be as well? We will see. That's my prediction for the season opener for 2023. Really excited here. Panthers, Falcons, a division rival game here of the second game out. The Panthers are +3.5 in Atlanta. I have Atlanta winning 23-16, so I actually have them covering that, and I kind of feel pretty good about them, you know, winning this game and you know, limiting the Panthers. Bryce Young could have his growing pains. Preseason didn't go all that great off the offense line either. The thing with the Panthers is, do they have that unit or that player on offense that's going to take over and just be an absolute nightmare for opposing defenses? Maybe somebody could become that. I definitely think Bryce Young can become that, but right now they do not. Falcons made their defense better, and it's a different defensive coordinator, Ryan Nielsen, too. So what do we expect? Like, what do teams expect when you're going against them? I think they're going to blitz more than people are talking about right now. They had Jesse Bates, big-time playmaker against a rookie quarterback. They have A.J. Terrell back healthy out there. So I actually like the Falcons' defense this game. Offensively, I think they'll do enough. I think they'll get creative with the group of, let's just say backs, but guys that can carry the ball. I know Cordero Patterson, a little bit of a hybrid player, but Bijan, excited to watch him run the ball and catch the football. Ritter's just kind of you got to be a game manager, especially in a game like this. Just don't try to be a hero in a game like this. Pound the football. That's what they're going to do. And I think they'll make some plays on defense. I don't expect a ton of scoring in this one. 23-16 is what I'm feeling for Atlanta, who are favored by 3.5, and I actually have them covering that. Next game, I have an upset here. The Bengals were my pick to win the Super Bowl this year, which is something different because I'm picking the Chiefs, quite a bit, whether it's before the season or very early in the season. But kind of feeling the Bengals this year, but it's, you got to stay healthy. Burrow, that calf's got to stay healthy, but looking good right now, apparently ahead of schedule. So that's fantastic. But I actually have the Browns winning in week 1. The Browns will be better than what people think. This game can go either way for sure. The Bengals are favored by 2.5, but I have the Browns winning. So obviously they're covering that. But it's a 50-50 game to me. But the Browns usually play pretty well against Burrow and the Bengals because they have that defense, they have that pass rush, and the defense should be even better. I mean, they add talent, they add Za'Darius Smith, they add Dalvin Tomlinson. Za'Darius Smith is a very, very good player when he's healthy, and he's healthy right now. It's week 1, and I think some of the young players can continue to get better as well. And Myles Garrett, is a defensive player of the year type player. I actually picked him to win defensive player of the year for this year. Last year I picked Bosa, so we're hoping to go back-to-back years here with the picks on defensive player of the year. But the Bengals improved their offensive line. It's a big reason why I picked them to win the Super Bowl. I love the Orlando Brown Jr. edition. It actually can open up the run game a lot, which people aren't really realizing, but. And then maybe that'll be a thing in this game. Watch out for them run the ball a little bit more than we're used to. Perhaps. We'll see. But I think the Browns, improving their defense, getting Jim Schwartz calling that defense. They're going to get after Burrow like they always do. They might do it even better because they're a better defense, I think, this year than last. And I think they'll do enough offensively. Nick Chubb won't go crazy, but he'll do enough, and he'll control the clock, keep it out of Burrow's hands, limit those explosive passing plays down the field, which the Browns can handle on defense as well. So the Bengals, one of the very best offenses in football, I actually have them limited to 17 points in this opener. And again, I could be wrong, but this is kind of what I'm feeling here. And the Bengals start a little slow sometimes. Don't go crazy if they start a little slow. They're not the greatest in the first couple weeks. If that's the case, I'm not worried about it unless some devastating injury happens. So I got high hopes for both these teams. I'm actually kind of high on the Browns compared to most people, but I'm feeling the Browns at home in this one, 20-17, and they're underdogs by 2.5. So that's gonna be a fun game. Could go either way. 2.5 is a sneaky spread because you could see the Browns losing, and they could lose by 3, which you would lose the bet, obviously, if you're new to betting, 2.5. But that's where it makes it a little tricky because that is a possibility. But I like the Browns at home in this one. They should win this one, but the Bengals are extremely talented, so we'll see. Excited. Next game, Jags and Colts. Really close to that line, too. The Jags are -5 heading in Indianapolis. And I have them winning by 4, so the Colts covering the spread on that one. And that one's tricky because this is either going to be a Jags blowout or it's going to be kind of going to go either way here. This is like the definition of a trap game in week 1 where everyone's like, okay, the Jags are for sure going to win. They're way better than the Colts. They are way better than the Colts, way better. But it's a trap game because the game plan factor here. The Colts bring in Shane Steichen. They also draft Anthony Richardson. There's really no tape on that, and it's such a unique type offense where they're going to run the quarterback a ton. Richardson's still got to grow as a passer. You don't want to have him throw the ball, 30, 40 times a game against Jacksonville. It gets anybody, but, so they're going to get creative with, running the quarterback and different style runs, maybe some read options, so it's so hard, and that's what happens every year in week 1, 2, 3, and that's why there's a lot of weird outcomes. That's exactly why, and maybe teams aren't fully in shape yet. So chase around Anthony Richardson when there's really not much of a game plan creates a trap game here, and the Colts could win this game because of that. So if we're talking, and again, we'll recap all the against the spread picks. We're just kind of talking about scores right now, and the line is on your screen, but that is, the Colts could win this game because of the game plan factor, and that's why maybe it's a little smarter to go at them +5 if you're going against the spread. But the Jags are just so much better than them, and Trevor Lawrence, Etienne, Ridley, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, led by Doug Peterson. They should have success against this Colts defense. They should have plenty of success, and the Colts will have some offensive success, especially early in this game. I think the second half is where the Jags put this one away and where they'll win the game because they'll adjust and they'll be the better team. But how much will they pull away by? That's why it's a little tricky. Could they win by a little bit more than this and cover? But it does feel like a trap game for the reasons I explained. But we'll still go with the Jags 27-23. Next game, Vikings Bucks. It's a tough one when talking about covering the spread as well, but I'm going to go 24-20 Vikings. Bucks are underdogs by 6, so they end up covering that. But yeah, it's a little tricky because we know the Vikings have a very explosive offense, but the Bucks got a pretty good defense and they're healthy right now. You know, they're going to have those. They're going to get Shaq Barrett back. You know, they got that corner duo. They have Winfield in the back end. They're going to be playing more of the role in the back end that he's suited for, and he played well when they had him in the box last year. But it sounds like they're going to use him right this year. They have a solid defensive line. Vita Vea in there, the linebacker duo, of course. That Bucks defense is solid, and I'd imagine they blitz a bit and cause problem for the Vikings, like weaker interior. The Vikings have good tackles, so yeah, I almost thought about predicting a little less scoring on this one, but the Vikings will still get those explosive plays. You know, the Bucks still have to deal with Justin Jefferson. You know, and Jordan Addison can be a factor right off the bat. T.J. Hawkinson, so they still have these weapons. You know, but the Bucks defense could win them this game, and there's not much faith in their offense. The Vikings defense was a little weaker last year, but you know, Brian Flores coming in, they're going to blitz a ton, so they're going to put pressure on the weaker Bucks offensive line and Baker Mayfield, and that could cause some problems. Bucks might turn to running the ball. Do they have a dominant enough of a run game to win with that alone? I don't think so, but we'll go with the Vikings 24-20. I think. Yeah, there could be like a portion of this game where it's like, okay, this might be a shootout, and maybe a portion where it's like there's nothing. This is all defense in this one. I think we'll see a little mixture of that, but more so siding towards the defensive game, believe it or not, in this one. Next, Titans Saints, which I actually have a push on the spread. It turned out because I predict the scores and I take a look at the line, but at the end I'll make a pick for the against the spread pick on this one. Even though I have a push with the score, I make a pick at the end with every game for against the spread. But Titans 17, Saints 20. Titans usually start off pretty poorly on season. Doesn't mean they'll do it every single year. So maybe this is the year they kind of break that. But you know, a team that they are healthier than at the end of last year. We're so used to the Saints being beat up, and they were kind of mediocre at quarterback play last year. But now they're healthy. And Derek Carr is their quarterback now, so much better quarterback play, and I think he'll fit in well there. So I think that's the difference. I do think Derrick Henry can run pretty well in this game. The Saints usually have a pretty decent run defense. Took a step down last year, but Derrick Henry could win the game single-handedly. I don't have a lot of faith in the Titans' passing game in this one. I love the Saints secondary. We'll see how their pass rush is, but the Saints, I think the difference is, yeah, again, the Titans are going to win the ground game battle. They stopped the run at an incredibly high level as well. But looking at the passing games, I like the Saints much more in this game than the Titans. And I think they'll make that extra play through the air. Maybe their secondary makes that extra play, which would be the Titans trying to go through the air as well. So that is my thinking in New Orleans on a close win for the Saints. But again, we'll go over the against spread picks at the end, but maybe if you had to pick one, maybe you're a little more comfortable with the Titans because they realistically could win this game. So if they're getting 3 points and you think they could possibly win this game, and if you had to pick against the spread, maybe you lean towards that way there. So, but it does feel like a 20-17. Could it be 14-17? It could be something along those lines too. Next, Niners Steelers. I have the upset on this one, which I don't think it's a major upset in week 1. But the Niners are favored by 2.5. I have the Steelers winning. It's going to be a really good game. Really, it's a squeaker. I have a 1-point game here, 20-19 Pittsburgh. Love the way Pittsburgh's offense and Kenny Pickett looked in preseason. Let's see if it translates. It's tough because they're going against maybe the best defense in football. They don't have D'Amico Ryans anymore, which I'm not really worried because the talent's there, and Wilkes is a good defensive coach. But is it going to be that D'Amico Ryans defense right out the gate? No, it could be as good as the year goes on. It's still going to be good early on. I think it's going to be a defensive game. But I think, with the collection of receivers Steelers have, that could be the difference in this game where they really can spread the ball out. And Pickett, again, if he continues to place the ball how he's been placing it and improve like how he's been improving, again, they can win this game. And TJ Watt healthy back there. I think, he can get after Purdy in this game. Watt versus Trent Williams should be fun. If you're talking about who's, that's interesting. Like if you polled people, like who would win that matchup? I think in the past, or maybe the last, I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm not saying my judgment, but I think people would say Trent Williams. But I think this year going into this game, maybe TJ Watt going in this game, where he's at, where they're at in their careers. So that could be a factor for sure. the Niners could win with Christian McCaffrey. Like, Christian McCaffrey can win this game alone. How is Brock Purdy, coming off that injury? How the nerves going to be? How's he going to be? I like to see at home, Pittsburgh, defensive game, TJ Watt gets that extra sack, maybe a strip sack. And I know the 49ers have weapons everywhere, but something about like the Steelers having like those receivers, like to really spread out the field, where you got Pickens, Robinson, Johnson. I don't know why I listed them in that order, but then it doesn't matter. And Freiermuth in the passing game as well. I can't really spread things out, and you might have to, respect Kenny Pickett, and that could cause some problems. And there not going to be a ton of offense in this game, but those are my reasonings for the Steelers. But it's a 50-50 game, could go either way. It's a squeaker right here. I'm excited about that one, really excited. Next, Cardinals are +7 in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, it's a lot of points for week 1, but I have the Commanders covering. I have them winning by 10, low-scoring game, and it's pretty simple. I mean, one reason, two, if you want to call this 2 reasons, but it's kind of one. It's Commanders' defense, going against the Cardinals' offense. So I like the Commanders' defense a lot. Chase Young back, but is he going to be playing in this game? So there was some doubt in that, but we'll see. I still like the defense a lot. It's a pretty damn stout defense, so and no cause problems for whoever's playing quarterback, Dobbs, whoever may be for the Cardinals in week 1. They're going to cause some problems. The Cardinals they're not going to be able to do much at all through the year. They're going to have to try to pound the football and just drain the clock, win that way. They might find some success here and there. I'm not expecting a whole lot. I just don't think they score enough points. It's week 1. Defense can slip up. Blown coverage is a possibility. So Cardinals getting on the board a little bit. I just don't see many scenarios where they can score a lot of points. And the Commanders, Howell looked pretty good in preseason. A little bit more of a test in the regular season. Not against backups, but the Cardinals do have one of the weaker teams in football. McLaurin could be out, so I don't. They'll have some explosive plays. I'm not expecting a whole lot of points from them, but enough. I think their defense wins this game. The lack of talent for the Cardinals also helps the Commanders win this game. So 20-10 is what I was feeling on that one. That's only a 30-point total. So you're looking at maybe a decent underplay here, even though that's going to be low. It's in the 30s, obviously. Texans and Ravens. This is a tough one against the spread because 10 is a lot. But the Texans, are a new team. I actually think they're going to be better than people think. But, tough environment for Stroud week 1, a healthy Ravens team. The Texans are a team that's going to get better as the year goes on. They're going to be where they're going to be at the end of this year. They're not going to be like that right now. And, having to deal with a healthy Lamar Jackson, new Todd Monken offense, it's a bad draw in terms of the schedule. Week 1 against the Ravens. So putting it that way in Baltimore, I just feel like the Ravens could really shellac them pretty good and maybe cover that 10. But 10 is just so much early on, and the Texans could be a tougher game plan because what do you expect with this new offense? And DeMeco Ryans' defense could, he's a very good defensive coach. He might have a game plan, but I wouldn't put it past him. Maybe he has a game plan for Lamar Jackson. I mean, Will Anderson can get after him here. They got some playmakers all over their defense. So this is either going to be around this range or an ass beating in the Ravens' favor. So I am confident with the Ravens winning. But 10 is a lot. I have them winning by 9. I wouldn't touch that one against the spread. I would not touch that one against the spread because it could be an ass beating. But I think the Texans can kind of come alive late in this game, maybe when it's too late. But they kind of come alive a little bit, get some points. So Ravens could be covering for most of this game. I can see that being a scenario. Maybe they control the clock. I think Dameon Pierce can run well, but the Ravens are usually pretty good stopping the run. But we'll see. It's a tough draw in terms of the schedule for the Texans, though. Packers-Bears, extremely a tough one to pick. I usually like going with those running quarterbacks early in the year. You tend to favor them because it is difficult to deal with those guys early in the season. Really not much of a game plan. Like, you put a spy on that guy, and are you in the proper shape to, chase after, in this case, Justin Fields. So I was in the Bears at home, hostile environment against a rival, season opener, home opener, whatever. I was kind of leaning Bears for that reason. But then a few things happened. The Bears, a little sketchy on the interior offensive line. Tevin Jenkins out for a month. Nate Davis hadn't been, practicing with his situation. So that happened. on top of Jordan Love looking pretty damn good in preseason. I don't want to base too much off preseason, but looking good, and me just being, I think a lot of the world being a little more comfortable with, you know, Jordan Love. You know, not that he's going to be great or anything like that, a little more comfortable. But then me thinking of the matchup as well. Like the Bears, they definitely improved. They were dead last stopping the run last year. Again, probably improved because of the linebacker unit, but I still think they'll struggle stopping the run. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, I think they'll pound those guys and they'll, you know, open up a sneaky play action pass, and some of these young weapons. They might have better weapons than you think, though, the Packers, too. I mean, using some of these rookies, you know, Reed at receiver, Musgrave at tight end is one to watch for sure. The offensive line's healthy right now, so that's fantastic. And I think the interior defensive line of the Packers, led by Kenny Clark, could have a day. So you know, and again, I think Justin Fields runs wild. I think he's going to run wild on them, but I think they're putting emphasis on, we got to pass the ball more efficiently. So are they going to try to force passes? The Packers got a pretty good secondary, mainly because the corners. So we'll see what happens here. All eyes on Justin Fields and Jordan Love this year, but you know, this game specifically this week. I'm gonna go. The matchup says Packers. The matchup says Packers, but I guess, you know, the week one, you know, in Soldier Field, Justin Fields running wild, that may say Bears. If they were good to go at guard, that actually might be the difference, even though the matchup would still say Packers. But that's kind of getting to me. I still worry about the Bears in the passing game, at least early on this year. I didn't know Fields could figure it out. He has the traits to figure it out as the year goes on, but matchup just says Packers. That's a tough one to pick. That is a tough one to pick. I think the Bears could be winning this game for the first half because, again, Fields on the ground. Maybe the Packers adjust to it in the second half. I do think it's, you know, it's a game that the Bears probably have to win. Home, division rival, you know, usually, you know, the running quarterbacks win these early games. Like, so you got to go in. It's kind of a must-win game there for Chicago. This should be a really fun one. It's one of the biggest rivals, maybe the biggest rival game in football. So it'll be a lot of fun. Raiders-Broncos, interesting one. I see the whole world picking the Broncos in this game. You know, I'm feeling the Raiders, and it's a 50-50 game. I definitely could be wrong, but I see everyone picking the Broncos straight up. I see them picking them against the spread, and I'm not like, wow, like you're wrong. I'm not really saying that because it could go either way, but I'm a little surprised that there's not much, you know, going the Raiders' way on this one because the Broncos are a little beat up. And again, Russ could be better under Sean Payton. You would hope so. Is it going to be right away? How, you know, Javonte Williams, love me some Javonte Williams. How much of a load will he get early on? Because I do think he could be a factor because the Raiders do have a weaker defense, but man, you know, I mean, where on offense are they going to be like, yes, they're going to dominate the Raiders? And you have to, because the Raiders on paper have a weaker defense, really. But I just don't see anything that says the Broncos will consistently put up points. I don't really see any more than like the 20, 23, maybe max, to 24, very, very max. But I really got them around that 17, 20 range. And the Broncos do have a pretty good defense. They've been switching coordinators, though, like crazy. Maybe they take a step down from where they're at, you know, but still a pretty solid defense. Pass rush will be key in this one. You know, will they get a consistent pass rush? And that's kind of up in the air with Gregory and Frank Clark. Big names, but how much of a pass rush will they get? You know, on Garoppolo. But Garoppolo is familiar with the system. I think he comes in, he's going to dish the ball to Devontae Adams. He's going to get the ball to Michael Mayer. You know, Josh Jacobs is going to run the ball pretty well. Because he did it, I mean, did it very well last year, and he's a guy that's just entering his prime. He's just getting going. So I see ways for the Raiders to get points and control the clock in this game. You know, if the Broncos were a little healthier at receiver and Javonte Williams, and he might just get a full load. But if he was healthy enough to get like 25 plus carries, I'd feel a lot better. But the Broncos just being beat up and maybe it taking a little bit more time under Peyton has me siding towards the Raiders. But the Broncos do have an unreal home field advantage, especially with that altitude. So that could be the reason the Broncos win. Maybe everyone's picking them like week one, having to go there, deal with that. Are you prepared? So that could be the reason as well. Broncos could win with their defense. You know, but I don't know. Underdogs by 3.5 points. I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here. I guess home field advantage could be the thing here, but 2017 Raiders is what I am feeling at the moment. Eagles and Patriots. Eagles -4. I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing on this one too, because 4 seems pretty low. I like the Eagles winning 27-20. Could be even by more than that. That was kind of like the closest I was kind of feeling. And it could be closer. I'm not guaranteeing anything. But Patriots, you know, Bill Belichick era defense, always good. It's going to be good this year. But they win with a pass rush, you know, blitz, unique looks. Teams that struggle against man coverage, they really beat them up. But I don't think those things really beat the Eagles, because the elite offensive line, they're going to hold it down. They're well coached. They're not going to, mess up against blitzes too often or at all. Hurts buying time, escaping pressure will help him beat man coverage because guys will get open eventually. And the Patriots, maybe they get a little sneaky and run a ton of zone. Maybe that could be the key. And on top of all that, the defense always been good for the Patriots, but they tend to struggle Belichick era against running quarterbacks on top of all that. So everything is just siding towards the Eagles on top of the Eagles. And the Patriots, I think, are actually a pretty good team, better than what people are giving credit for. But on top of all that, the Eagles have that, they're better. They have that stacked roster. They'll get after Mac Jones for sure. They'll get pressure. Patriots probably going to rely on the run. That interior D line's ridiculous for the Eagles. But maybe you get past that level, then the linebackers you could beat on the ground, I suppose. But everything just really sides towards the Eagles. It's week 1, though. Weird things happen. Vegas, I don't know. I feel like they know something with that -4. It almost, when you see a line that kind of surprises you, to me, that's like the one. It feels almost like a trap game, but I don't see it. Every matchup I look at, it is in New England. It's week 1, so we'll see. But everything kind of sides towards the Eagles here, so we will see. Next, Dolphins-Chargers. I have a 1-point squeaker. It's going to be a really good game. The Dolphins are underdogs by 3 points. It's in L.A. Also, Jalen Ramsey being out, those things are kind of factors there. But I remember the last time, something to side with the Dolphins here, besides the fact that they're good and they have weapons and they're good on both sides of the ball. And they were very good early on last year. Doesn't mean they'll be that again. But besides all that, I remember Vic Fangio, who's now the Dolphins defense coordinator, when Herbert went against Vic Fangio's defenses, he kind of struggled. That was kind of his weaker games, I thought. It was a few years ago. But that's something I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Maybe something with Fangio's defense. Herbert can't really read, but he's older now, more experienced, better, smarter. So I think I think it's another one of those games where it's going to be like, we're going to have a wave of offense. Like, this is going to be 38-35, but then all of a sudden it tightens up and there's defense. Maybe the Dolphins get quite a few stops in a row with their stout defense. Maybe the Chargers get their hands on the ball, and then Chargers being healthy right now. Bosa, Klomack out there, Rashawn Slater back. 2 really good pass rushes both sides. And I think that, maybe in the trenches, maybe the Chargers win this one there. But 24-23 could go either way. It's one of those games where, Dolphins could definitely win this game, and they're getting 3 points. So if you had to pick against the spread, maybe you're leaning that way. Rams, Seahawks. I guess this could be a little bit of a trap game. I would say that if Cooper Kupp was good to go, but it doesn't sound like he is. Because if he was, and you have Stafford, you have Kupp, you have other weapons, you have Aaron Donald on the defense, they got this stud talent, possible star talents here and there, so they could win at any given time. But, if Stafford plays like the Matt Stafford, and he's healthy right now, week 1, they could do it. They could do it because of that. Aaron Donald can cause a ruckus on defense, but I know they have explosive plays here and there, but Seattle's got a very explosive offense. They can win with the run or the pass. The Rams defense is Aaron Donald pretty much. And there's some other players that can play, don't get me wrong, but really it's Donald's kind of carrying that group there. So I think Seattle will score. I think Rams will have explosive plays as well, but I got the Seattle Seahawks winning by 6 here. I really like the Seahawks off-season too, so seeing if their defense improved, adding guys like Draymond Jones and et cetera, more guys who are free agency in the draft. So, yeah, excited to watch them this season. And Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys at the Giants. Cowboys are -3.5. I kind of like that, but it could be a little bit of a trap betting on that one because it's week 1. It's a primetime game, and it's in New York. The Cowboys got to go there, but we got 2 good football teams, but the Cowboys are always very good in the regular season. It's like a sure thing they're going to be very good with this roster in the regular season. And I think this could be the best defense in football in the year. I really do. Under Dan Quinn, he's back. Strong secondary. Diggs going to get even better. Gilmore's out there. Micah Parsons getting even better. They add to the interior. I'd watch out for a guy like Damone Clark, LSU linebacker. I'm really excited about the pieces they have. And offensively, we know they can move the ball. They can win with the pass or the run. So they'll find ways to score in this game, and their defense is so good where I just don't see the Giants scoring enough points to win this game, but they can definitely score more than 17. It probably does seem a little low, but I like the Cowboys defense a lot in this game. But maybe the Giants will have that momentum. First game of the year, prime time at home. But 24-17, I was feeling pretty good about here, in this one. But we'll see. I'm excited about Daniel Jones. Does he take another step up? If he takes another step up, watch out for the New York Football Giants. I'm excited about Jalen Hyatt, excited about Kayvon Thibodeau on defense, Dexter Lawrence. Everyone should be excited about because he's already a dominant player. So there's some things to be excited about the Giants, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys 24-17 on that one. And then Monday night, the Bills are favored by 2.5, and I kind of planned on going with the Bills when the schedule came out, in this one, but kind of changed my mind a little bit. Von Miller being out was a big one because the Jets, both these teams, have mediocre offensive lines. At times they can be a little above average, at times a little bit below. I think it's more so about staying healthy when it comes to the Jets. The Bills, it's more about development. They're relying on some guys developing, so we'll see how they develop. So similar in terms of if you were to rank offensive lines, I think they're kind of similar range, but they're different because one, it's relying on health. One, it's relying on development, in my opinion. And Von Miller being out, and the Jets kind of just getting better over, since the schedule came out, adding Dalvin Cook and the pieces that they've added, Adrian Amos too. So that's fantastic for the Jets. And they played the Bills pretty well with their defense last year, and the defense is so strong, and they've added some pieces that I think continue to play pretty well. And now they have the offense to outscore them, outscore other teams. So for all those reasons, I was kind of siding Jets. But you could say the Jets, it's a new look, Aaron Rodgers, so they kind of got the game plan in their favor, like the factor in their favor. But I think everyone at this point knows how to game plan for Rodgers, Nathaniel Hackett, West Coast style offense. But the Bills adding more 12 personnel to their playbook is the game plan factor, and I'm very curious to see how much they add right now because they ran the least amount in football last year. And 12 personnel, if you didn't know, 2 tight ends. That's kind of the main point of that, using 2 tight ends. They draft Dalton Kincaid. They're going to use him and Dawson Knox. It's not one or the other. Sometimes it might be one or the other, usually favoring Knox if it's just one. But they're going to use both, and that could be, there's not much of a game plan for the Bills running 12 personnel out there. It's like, God, Kincaid's going to be a matchup problem. Who do we focus on? They got Diggs out there spreading the field out. Josh Allen could run at any given time, so that could be a problem. But the Bills also, they've ran what they've ran in the past, like built around Josh Allen, built around Stephon Diggs, what they had. So maybe some of this new stuff being added doesn't fit them. Possibly, maybe it takes time. They're talented enough where they'll figure it out and they'll be deadly with it. But maybe it'll take a little time for them to execute in those types of plays, the new types of plays. Are they afraid to use a ton of it right away? So these are questions. As it's, to me, it's always more than just Bills. I mean, right off the bat, Bills Jets. It's a heavyweight AFC East battle. I'm excited for it for that reason. The last game of Week 1, but I'm looking at that stuff. Like, how much of it will the Bills use? Will it be a factor more for them or against them? How will Aaron Rodgers and this new Jets offense be? Will Dalvin Cook or Breece Hall be used more? How will they be? I mean, will the offensive line hold up? A lot of questions within the game that I'm really excited for. But for the reasons I explained, I think the Jets actually could be a little more prepared for this game at home. I think better defense with Von Miller out over there, and they might have better defense in general as well. The Jets can win with the run or the pass in this game, and so could the Bills, but I feel a little more comfortable with the Jets. So things are more so siding with the Jets, but dealing with Josh Allen and his legs early on or ever is very, very tough. It's a tough game plan no matter what. So that could be the reason for the Bills. There was talk about him wanting to run less. I don't like that if that's the case, but we'll see. But a lot of questions for this game. But feeling the Jets, and then kind of going over, it's a little bit of a recap here. These are the first games actually, so kind of going. We'll show both those, but the first, so I had the Lions +5, Falcons -3.5 was the pick. The Browns +2.5. And those ones I all kind of like. I mean, I've talked about them individually. Colts +5, I'd be scared of that one. But Bucks +6, probably Vikings can win by 7, so that's a scary one. Steelers +2.5. I wish it was 3, but 2.5. I think they can win that game. Titans Saints was actually a push with my score prediction, but if I had to pick, the Titans could win that game, so you'd rather take them +3 than the Saints giving up 3. Commanders -7. It's a lot, but I don't imagine the Cardinals score much. I would not touch the Texans Ravens game. Would not touch that. It could be an ass beating or right around inside that 10. I had Texans losing by 9. Packers +1 against the Bears. That game go either way, but the Packers getting a point kind of helps. Raiders, I think, could win, so I'm getting 3.5. Looks pretty good. Eagles -4, I liked. Am I missing something there? Miami +3 could go either way. So Miami getting 3, feel pretty good about that. Seattle -5 could be a trap game, but you never know. Cowboys -3.5 looks good. It looks good, but then it's first Sunday night game, primetime in New York, so I guess that makes it a little scary. Jets getting +2.5 looks pretty good. I wish it was 3, but it looks, because they could lose the game by 3, and they can win. They're home. They're getting 2.5. But I am working on a best bet / locks, favorite straight up lock, favorite upset / money line picks. That's a video that we're adding to the rotation this year. Expect that video next. It should be up every Thursday this week. It should be up on Wednesday, so day after. This is going up now. So yeah, and then you see with the Twitter subscribers, if you like college football betting, score predictions, things like that, extra NFL content, Super Picks League with prizes, things like that. You're going to want to subscribe on Twitter. At least follow us on Twitter. You won't regret that. But yeah, and while you're here, check out our other content. We got more on the way for the rest of the week for week 1. With that, we'll be back every single week for the NFL this season. We even have off-season content. So join us, like, subscribe to notifications on. I'm excited. I'm excited about that. I miss making these videos. Power rankings up as well. Love that one. But that will wrap this one up. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.